All right, everybody, it is time for Chapter 10. Dragging along and thinking of all the dreadful things that had happened, John walked about halfway home when he heard a cheery voice of his father. "Hello, hello," called Mr. Midas, crossing over from the other side of the street. He was on his way home from the station. "You left the party rather early, didn't you?" "What?" Mr. Midas had seen patches and streaks of chocolate that were drying on John's face. "Good gracious! No wonder you left the party early. How did that happen?" John burst into tears. It had all been so awful, but now he could tell his father about his terrible day. He stopped crying and only sniffled a little now, and as he told the whole story about taking the coin to the candy store, about buying the box that turned out to only have one chocolate in it, about the toothpaste about breakfast, the gloves, the silver dollar, the pencil, the lunch, the trumpet, and finally, the apple duck and water. "You mean to tell me they all really turned to chocolate?" Mr. Midas asked. "You're sure you didn't imagine some of this?" "Oh, no," John assured him. "Well," Mr. Midas said, looking doubtful, "we're only a couple blocks from the candy store of yours. Not that I've ever noticed one there. Suppose we stroll over and ask the man whether his chocolates do strange things to people." "It's on the next corner," John said, recognizing some of the houses on the side street. "Not the next house, not the next house, not the next," he said, "but—" John's voice faded into silence. The corner where he had only found the candy store was nothing now but an empty lot. Flat, open-grounded, littered with a pile of rusty tin cans and broken bottles, around a splintery old sign saying "For Sale." Mr. Midas said, frowning anxiously at John. "I think we'd better take a visit to Dr. Cranium before we go home." "That's where the store was, though," John protested, beginning to cry again. He had shed more tears in that one day, it seemed, and certainly eaten more chocolate than in any of the other days in his life put together. "I know it was there." Dr. Cranium was a busy man, but as luck would have it, however, he was able to see Mr. Midas and John almost at once. "Well, well, 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 well," said Dr. Cranium, "and how are we getting along now, John? Have we cut down our candy, eh?" "How do you do?" John responded dully. "Apparently, he's had a bad day, Mr. Cranium," Mr. Midas said. "Trouble at school, you know, and a little accident at a birthday party. What I'm worried about is he keeps saying that everything he puts in his mouth turns to chocolate." "No more than a nursery fantasy, I'm sure," said Dr. Cranium to Mr. Midas. "Well, John," he went looking down with a smile, "I suppose you'll tell me in your own words what the matter seems to be." "Everything I put into my mouth turns to chocolate," John explained. "Everything I eat and everything I drink changes into chocolate. I'm thirsty and I'm getting a pain. A bad one, I think." Dr. Cranium sighed patiently and invited John to open his mouth and say "ah." "Ah," John said. Dr. Cranium peered into John's mouth and briefly gave a low whistle of surprise. This chocolate eating simply must stop. He went to a supply cabinet. "I don't think there's any time to be lost," he told Dr. Midas. "I'm going to have to give the boys some of my own special compound. Dr. Cranium's elixir, I call it. Never fails." Dr. Cranium selected a large bottle from one of the cabinet's crowded shelves. He removed the top of the bottle. He got a spoon from another shelf, and he filled the spoon with an oily, greenish-yellow medicine that had yellowish-reddish lights glinting in it. "It doesn't taste very pleasant," Dr. Cranium warned John, in a pleasant tone of voice, "but I'm sure it'll do the trick. Clear the stomach and clear the mind. That's what I always say." Dr. Cranium offered John the brimful spoon. "May I?" John asked his father. "I know it'll turn into chocolate." "Go on," Mr. Midas nodded encouragingly. "Drink it down." John took the spoon between his lips. The medicine turned to chocolate. The spoon turned to chocolate. John croaked and sputtered, and the chocolate syrup spun from his mouth. Dr. Cranium dropped the spoon in alarm, where it struck the white tiled floor. The chocolate handle snapped into several pieces. "Mercy!" said Dr. Cranium. "I've never seen anything like it. The boy's whole system seems to be so chocolified that it chocolifies everything that it touches." After he had recovered somewhat, The doctor went on. I believe that this must be an unprecedented case of, chocolatitis. I shall call it Dr. Cranium's disease. I shall want to make an exhaustive study of the child. I think John has had enough excitement for one day, Mr. Midas said. That is the end of chapter 10, and now I have some comprehension questions for us. Here we go. Question number 1. How do you think John really felt about going to Susan's party? Question 2. What happened to the water and to John and Susan when John bobbed for apples? Question 3. What was strange about the candy store when John tried to take his father there? Was it A, it wasn't there, B, it was closed, C, it sold vegetables, or D, only John could see it? Question number 4. What events occurred after Dr. Cranium gave Dr. John Cranium's elixir? And question number 5. What did Dr. Cranium give to cure John's sickness? A, chocolate fever, B, John's disease, C, chocolate touch, or D, cranium disease? I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great weekend.